Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today is day 3 of practice. We're nearing the end of it, and guess what? It was windy, or is windy again. So much so that it actually changed my plans around a little bit. We're going to be fishing probably on the south side of the lake, which is what we're supposed to have in the tournament. At least that's what the weatherman says. I feel kind of dumb believing the weatherman, but we got to go off of the information that we have, and from that standpoint, that's the part of the lake I want to be fishing. And today we have a really strong north wind. We had a front blow through last night, and it's howling. So I didn't really feel like going to that south shore was going to be all that productive for smallmouth, considering it would have been banging all over the place in some waves, and just not probably productive. So instead of doing that, I decided to fish the Walker area, which I've never fished before, and it's where we take off of. So I figured maybe I could find something largemouth or smallmouth that could be productive for coming back at the end of the day. You know, I feel like you can catch a 4-pound largemouth anywhere on this side. It's not been super productive. We've really tried a bunch of different things, and I just keep coming back to the punch and bite, or I should say the shoreline related bite. You know, I tried fishing some offshore milfoil, really nice milfoil. Tried fishing some deep points, some break lines, and I caught a couple, but they were little, not I mean little, like not even keepers. And at least when I go back to doing stuff like this, I'm catching keepers. We actually just started fishing in this area, which is kind of a standalone little lake. Probably about 20 minutes ago, I've caught one 2.5 pounder, and it's just a completely new part of the lake. So I actually went ahead and put my hook back on, just because I want to know what I'm catching. You know, the unfortunate thing is there's a lot of northern pike in here, and anytime you have a lot of northern pike, they like to live in the same places a lot of your bass do, and unfortunately, if you're not catching them, you don't know if they're bass or pike a lot of times. So I felt like their chances of me coming into this part of the lake were very slim. Even though I like the way it looks, it's basically the wrong way from the direction I plan to go for the smallmouth. So from that standpoint, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna put the hook on, catch a few. If I catch a couple that are of interest to me, you know, good quality fish, I can take it back off and start shaking them off. But for right now, we're going to set the hook on a few. It'll be interesting to see how this shakes out. A lot of anglers right now, I guess, are saying that Thursday is supposed to be the windiest day yet, and we could have the tournament canceled, or that day canceled because of that. I don't know if I think that'll happen or not. I mean, I can tell you right now that that main lake is rough, and if you're looking to make any sort of run, it's going to be rough. And once you're out there, you're pretty much out there. There's no in between. So I know last year they canceled one roughly the same time, or same wind conditions, so maybe they'll do it again. The stock's got some sort of fan under there blowing all the grass out. You can see it laying over. I think there'd be a fish under there. It's a good way to keep it clean. It's just funny to me how, like, you know, a lot of these lakes look so good, but I really don't feel like the population is great. For largemouth or smallmouth, you go to some neighboring lakes that look just like this, and you catch a pile you'll catch a pile of largemouth. But you know, you don't really do that here. You get into a good stretch and you can catch 3 or 4 and, you know, catch a bunch of fish, but it is not, you know, like they're everywhere by any means. And that could partially be a factor of pressure too. You know, I don't know how many guys have fished through these little lakes. A lot of, I do think a lot of these anglers, I said it last year, you know, that I think one of the mistakes a lot of anglers made when they came here is catching too many fish in practice. And you heard a lot of them complain about, you know, how practice was one of the best practices they've ever had, and then in the tournament it was like their bite went away. And to me, that's simply a sign that there's just not a number of fish. Like, they were catching the resident fish, and once they caught it in practice, they weren't there in the tournament. And that's also a sign. I think the first day the cut weight was like 17 pounds, and on day 2, after day 2, it dropped to 15 a day. So like, to have a 2-pound drop is a huge weight reduction. And I think a lot of times that goes back to, again, the easy fish were caught day 1, and day 2 it just got harder. And I think that's kind of what happens here. And I don't feel like the lake at all holds up well to the pressure. After last year's tournament, there was a lot more pressure out here, and that never helps either. You know, when you just have a lot more locals and a lot more small club events, and I'm all for taking advantage, you know, of the good fishing, but you know, when we roll in the next year, same time, it just feels like everything's been beat on a little bit more. And that happens, you know, all over the country. We see that, you know, you go to a lake, especially for the first time, and I don't think any major tournament had been to Leech Lake for like 20 years or 30 years or something. So it was basically a new fishery for the majority of the country. And then when they see how big the smallmouth were, everyone is interested in it. And I don't blame them. I mean, the area is beautiful. It is a beautiful, all of northern Minnesota is beautiful. So we're just going to keep dunking away here. You know, I feel like my game plan is pretty well set. Whether it pans out or not, we remain to be seen. It's high risk, high reward. You know, this is going to sound funny, but I'm hoping to. I feel like a successful day would be 2 keeper smallmouth, and ideally both those smallmouth are like the average, which is like 4, I'll say 3.5 to 4.5, and hopefully then I can go muster up some quality largemouth at the same time then to give me, you know, a 15-16 pound bag. That's kind of the bare minimum, because I don't think I can catch that just on largemouth. And that's, you know, again, what the check weight was last year. And I don't, based on talking with a ton of guys that fished last year, it feels like it's much harder this year, they're saying. So if that's the case, maybe it drops off a little bit, but that's how I feel like I can get to that weight. And you know, if everything works out, you come in with 5 smallmouth for 20 pounds. If it doesn't work out, well, then I guess I'll see how it goes when I'm out there. If I'm out there and I don't have any smallmouth and it's noon, I might just go down with the ship, because I'm not fishing for any points at this point, and running to go catch 10 pounds of largemouth if you can at that point may not do much either. So you know, being that I'm not fishing for points at this point, you know, may just end up going down, like I said. But we'll see. You know, I also feel like there's good potential. You get into an area, and if them smallmouth turn on, or you can figure out the bait they want, like, I think you can muster up you know, 5 good ones and go in with a limit. This stuff's just like so much slime, and just the bait doesn't fish real good clean through it. Anyways, all right, well, you've seen a little bit of what Leech Lake has to offer through the practice recaps. Hopefully you'll watch along. I'll be filming during the tournament. Hopefully I got some fish catches, some big fish catches, and we'll go from there. So thanks for watching. I appreciate all the support. Stay tuned. We'll have tournament recaps coming.